This is Access Ann Arbor.
Hello, I'm Amy Situ, one of the three founders of CASA, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. CASA stands for Chinese American Society of Ann Arbor. It was founded in October 1994. In other words, we're celebrating CASA's 20th anniversary this year. Perhaps you have heard of CASA before. In the next few minutes, you will meet two CASA members and an organization friendly with CASA. And later, you're going to meet three recent presidents of CASA. You'll see some photos of CASA's past activities, and I invite you to consider joining CASA. Of course, being one of the oldest members of CASA, I can share some stories about CASA. First of all, how did the name come about? A group of Ann Arbor residents decided to organize this organization. We sat at Dr. Hua Sun-na's dining table every Sunday morning in the summer of 1994 until the Constitution and bylaws were drafted. Then we had to decide what the organization should be called. Finally, Chinese American Society of Ann Arbor was voted in, with CASA, C-A-S-A-A, as its acronym. CASA sounds like the Spanish casa, meaning house, and also sounds like the Japanese casa, meaning umbrella. The founders wanted CASA to be an organization where all ethnic groups are welcomed and feel comfortable, like in a house or under an umbrella. CASA's constitution and bylaws stipulates that members elect a new president every year. In the last 20 years, different presidents made various contributions to CASA and the community. For example, Dr. Yu Qing-dai designed CASA's logo during his presidency. For those who don't know Chinese characters, the logo appears to be a tree in a blue background planted on the ground that has red and white stripes. The logo seems to be modeled after the logo of the city of Ann Arbor. Well, for those who can read Chinese, however, the tree is actually a stylized Chinese character, Hua, meaning China or Chinese. In short, the logo denotes that Chinese Americans are taking root in a tree town in the United States. According to the CASA Constitution, two of the objectives of the organization are, one, to promote Chinese American cultural exchange, two, to promote friendship among CASA and Ann Arbor and Michigan residents at large. Beginning with Angela Yang, many presidents have employed fundraising for charitable organizations as their way of promoting Chinese and American cultural exchange and friendship. Then CASA has donated to THAW, that is, the Heat and Warmth Fund, and also Warm the Children Fund, and Food Gatherers, and Safe House Center. Why do we want to promote friendship and cultural exchange? According to the 2010 census, Asian accounted for 14.4% of the Ann Arbor population. According to the 2000 census, 35% of the Ann Arbor Asian population were Chinese. According to a report in the media, there were at least 1,000 People's Republic of China passport holders working at the University of Michigan health system, not counting naturalized Chinese Americans, those born here, and those from other countries such as Korea, Singapore, and Taiwan. In other words, there are many Chinese Americans in Ann Arbor. Yet, Chinese Americans in Ann Arbor are largely invisible in the media. For example, on January 30th this year, it was the Chinese Lunar New Year's Eve, the eve of the Year of the Horse. There was no coverage of this annual event in the media. By contrast, I counted at least 28 countries and places that have issued postal stamps in commemoration of the event of the Year of the Horse, including United States, France, United Kingdom, Canada, and several African countries. Well, obviously, there's a divide between Chinese American community and the mainstream community in this seemingly diverse city. The Chinese New Year celebration activities, however, have been reported in the 4 Chinese language newspapers available in Ann Arbor. We believe that CASA can help close the gap. My first guests are the Robert Treadway, Paul Dean Webb, and Leslie Dubin. They have known CASA in their own way. My first guest is Robert Treadway, a retired public servant specialized in human resources. He can speak fluent Chinese and has taught English in China mainland many times. And he served as the treasurer of CASA. Hello, Mr. Treadway. I hope I can call you Bob.
Please. Hello,
Would you
Amy.
say a few words about your experience with CASA?
Well, as a treasurer, I do the normal things, but in our leadership, we all pitch in for the different activities of CASA. And I think we have 2 general areas. One, we'd like to have activities that incorporate the Chinese community, and as Amy said, that would include people from mainland China, from Taiwan, Singapore, and Chinese Americans. We like to have a social event that will provide them the way to communicate the culture down to their children that don't always get don't always get this information in their social relationships. The other aspect is to educate the community about what China is and what the meaning of China is, so we get information out to the public, the general public, about China. So those 2 areas.
Mm-hmm. What do you think so special about CASA?
Well, the thing about CASA is that it incorporates among the Chinese people. We'll count the people from the mainland, the people from Taiwan, the people from Singapore, and mostly the Chinese Americans. And it was my observation that everyone cooperates really well in no matter where they're from.
Are you saying that other organizations are not like that?
I'm not familiar with other ethnic organizations, but I know that in the international scene, you see sometimes people aren't in agreement, but we all cooperate in this one. We're all together. We don't talk politics.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to add that organizations like CASA is very unique because of the Chinese from everywhere are friendly, just like you said. You know, other Chinese American organizations tend to have only Chinese from the mainland or only Chinese from Taiwan. they're not inclusive. Well, thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Okay.
Our
You're
next guest is a CASA member, and Paul Dean Webb is our next guest. And he's a retired director of the Office of International Students at EMU, Eastern Michigan University. After 24 years of his service, he was awarded the status of emeritus. Congratulations. He's now one of the designated school officials at Henry Ford Community College at Dearborn. Paul can speak beautiful Chinese. And hello, Paul.
Hello.
What's your experience with Chinese in Michigan or in Ann Arbor?
Well, first, Amy, I'm delighted to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I think what CASA is doing is enhancing Chinese-American relationships in our community. And it's right in the center, right in the heart of it, of anything that really is going to see any change that really counts for anything. And I too have been a part of Chinese cultures actually since 1968, when I studied Chinese in Taiwan and then taught religion and also ESL. I think also I'm grateful to the Chinese community for teaching me Chinese, because my limited ability to speak the language, you were very kind, but it's a limited ability, helped me to gain a position at the University of Illinois in Chicago, and then later at Eastern Michigan University, and nowadays in my semi-retirement at Henry Ford Community College. And it has been a privilege for me over these almost 4 decades to work within the Chinese community. They have trusted me with helping the U.S. citizens of Chinese heritage, and permanent residents of Chinese heritage have trusted me in assisting their relatives to start programs of study and complete them. And we've done our best to be of assistance. As you might have guessed, there have been significant changes, Amy, over the last 4 decades in our Chinese population in universities. At one time, students from Taiwan predominated. Now, of course, students from the People's Republic of China dominate the landscape of most U.S. schools. And we're talking not just about students, but also researchers and workers as well. They estimate that there are about 26,000 students from other countries in Michigan, going to Michigan schools. And this makes Michigan number 9 in the nation. And the economists suggest that these 26,000 bring in like $760 million into the state's economy. And pertinent to our subject today, over 8,000 of these students are of Chinese origin. 26,000 in total, but 8,000 are of Chinese origin. And right down the street, the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, we have their 2013 report that says there's about 2,800 students are of Chinese origin. And these organizations, these Chinese, promote themselves as they should. They have a lot to share, and they do a good job. And we're grateful in CASA for, and we bless their activities in CASA at student organizations at universities, because they do indeed show where they come from, and they're proud of it, and they're dedicated to introduce themselves.
Very good.
And that is not even including, Amy, individuals who run our Chinese schools in the area. It's amazing how dedicated they are. My daughter actually attended one of the Chinese schools in Ann Arbor.
Oh, thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Mr. Webb. The last guest in the first segment is Leslie Dubin, a geriatric social worker at the University of Michigan. She also is the president of FCC of Ann Arbor. FCC stands for Families with Children from China. I don't know if Leslie can speak Chinese, but hello, Leslie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me here. We're very pleased to represent.
Well, would you like to say a few words about what FCC does and what's the relationship between FCC and CASA?
I'm so pleased to. My husband and I were fortunate enough to be able to adopt 2 beautiful children from China. My daughter is now 9 and my son is 5. And we are part of this group, Families with Children from China. There are about 50 families here in the Ann Arbor area who are active members in one way or another in our organization. And we have just always been so pleased to be so welcomed by the members of CASA. For most of us, it's super important for us to be able to expose our children to the Chinese culture and to continue to celebrate the various festivals and teach the traditions of their homeland. And so it was our pleasure to be able to engage in several events with you, as you know, things like the Chinese New Year. We've collaborated with a few years ago during one of the annual picnics we have with CASA. We had a dragon boat festival.
And the 4th of July parade.
And the 4th of July parade, which has become one of our favorite traditions with CASA. So we've been really pleased to be able to make sure that our children have these connections with Chinese American folks here in the area.
That's great. The feeling is mutual, I think. Well, thank you very much for all 3 of us, all 3 of you to be here. And thank you for your contribution to CASA and the Ann Arbor community. And later we're going to show a PowerPoint and a video of all the past activities that Leslie was talking about and Paul Dean and Bob were talking about. See you later. I'm Amy Situ, representing Chinese American Society of Ann Arbor, and I hope you enjoy watching the video describing all our CASA past activities. Now we have three new guests. They are recent presidents of CASA. We have Shiwen Wu, president of 2012 and 2013. Peter Shen, president of 2014. And Sharon Dao, president-elect for 2015. Shiwen, or Shiwen Wu, is an employee or administrator at the Rackham School of Graduate Studies.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you did something very interesting during your presidency. But before we talk about it, can you tell us about yourself?
I was born and raised in Taiwan, and I came to the United States 26 years ago with my husband to pursue a higher education. Yeah. One of the CASA's main mission is to raise a fund for local charity annually. And anyone knows me and know I love teaching, I love food, and I love cooking. So during my presidency, I asked myself, what can I do to combine the CASA mission, my passion for food, and my Chinese culture background? So with our board's approval, the Taste of China in the Year of a Dragon was born. And we first host the grand opening luncheons to raise funds for food gatherers. And in that day, we actually have 200 guests. And we were serving 10 courses gourmet Chinese dishes. And we do the Chinese cooking demo show on the site. And we even, in an event, we even sung a happy birthday song to one of the guests. Mm-hmm. And in that particular single day, we actually raised $3,000 to donate to the food gatherers.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And after that grand opening event, we hosted a series of Chinese regional cooking lesson to it was taught by the local Chinese restaurant's chef.
Oh, really? That's
And
really interesting.
We had taught all those Chinese regional cooking from Shanghai, Sichuan, Taiwan, and northern regional and vegetarian food. And we're very happy because we were able to raise a lot of funds for the local charity.
Wonderful.
We also was very successful for our cooking lesson.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, but there's one more thing I would like to mention. Yeah. It's when we were planning, we went out to ask for sponsor. We actually received a very generous support from the University of Michigan Confucius Institute, Bush's Grocery Store, and an Yibao Yuan Chinese restaurant in Ypsilanti, and TK Wu Chinese restaurant in Ann Arbor.
Wow, you got the community support too.
Yes,
okay.
And I think that's what CASA about. We are a joint effort to building a better community.
Thank you very much, Shiwen. My next guest is Peter Shen. Yeah. Peter is the current CASA president, and he is in international trade business. Okay, wow, Peter, what's your plan for 2014?
Oh, at first, we should thank you, Siwen. She was the president in 2012 and 2013, and he did a lot of work. So, but for this year, I'm very happy. I'm the new president, but it's not because I'm the president. I'm happy. So I just happy the more and more the American know the Chinese, know the Chinese culture, Chinese history, and also more and more Chinese know the American history and the culture. Anyway, so at first, this January, we have the board meeting and discuss the whole year's CASA plan in 2014. All of the first, we discussed the donate. We donate to the this one is warm the children.
Oh,
so
warm
yeah,
the children.
warm the children.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Anything else?
yeah. We like the Shi Wen said, we CASA donate a lot before. For this year, we discussed we donate the first warm the children, and also we were prepared a lot of the plant, and we'll donate to the another safe house, the center.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Safe
that's
House
one.
Center, okay.
Yeah, that's one.
That's
okay, so
great.
for this year, we have the board meeting that discuss the whole year's plan, include a lot of the seminar like the medical insurance, Obamacare, like everybody know that, and also the tax return seminar, and also we have the parole in the July 4th.
Parade.
Yeah, parade.
Yeah, yeah.
And also the picnic
Okay.
and
Well,
Thanksgiving party.
thank you
Yeah.
very much, Peter.
Okay.
Our next guest, the final guest, is Sharon Dowd, our 2015 president. Hi, Sharon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What's your plan for 2015?
First of all, I'm glad to be here with the group, and thank you, Amy, for all the arrangement and help. For the upcoming, yeah, there are a couple of things I like to do. First of all, of course, I'm going to continue the group effort on promoting the cross-cultural sharing and promotion. Also continue the community services as well as charity activities, the programs. The other hand, I like to enhance more about our community outreach program to a broader, even broader community friends, as well as our partner organizations, so that we can enhance our group more and bring up even more visibility to the community. Now, the last thing is, personally, I have very deep the passion on cultural sharing and also promotion, as you know. I like to take this opportunity to bring it into our group and to do even more on the cultural activity and the program into our to our community friends, with a better and bigger of the cultural activity. So here we're talking about to bring a cultural program to our community. We're talking about quality as well as quantity. Hope our community friends will like it.
Thank you so much for the three presidents of CASA, and thank you very much for watching. And please consider March 15th, Saturday, is our fundraiser for Safe House Center. It's a Saturday. We're going to have all-you-can-eat dinner at Asia City Restaurant. Please stay tuned. Bye.